Good evening, folks. Welcome to Everyday KT number 200. That is 200 mostly consecutive episodes of Everyday KT. Now, special day, 200 episodes. It's a whole hell of a lot than I thought. So, what am I going to do? Special day, special people. So, I am going to make a phone call to a good friend of mine, Mr. Nathan Greenberg. He is the CEO of Arkside Marketing, a very prominent marketing firm out in California. So let me get on my magic phone here. Yeah, I got a battery on there so it doesn't die on me. Let me get him on the line, and we'll talk about things. So while I'm doing this, just so you know, I'll get him on the phone first. Nathan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. So we are live on Facebook, and
What?
yeah, we're live. I don't do any of this pre-recorded stuff. We are live.
Oh no!
Hey, you know what? I have a shepherd's crook available if it helps.
No, that means that all the bad things I say won't be filtered or edited out. They're going out live.
Yes. You have seen my videos, right?
How's your evening going?
It is going fantastic. So, just going to do a sound check. Those of you who are watching, can someone let me know? Make sure that you can actually hear both myself and Nathan. And while we're waiting for that, quick introduction of sorts. So, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Greenberg is a friend of mine. He has been for at least 10 years now. And he was he was the first admin for the original Brotherhood of the Kilt website over at kiltrock.com. I think he was number 16. I believe.
I was trying to think back. I think it was either 10 or 13.
Okay, so top 20. One of the first 20 members of the Brotherhood of the Kilt. We're now up over 600 or 700. He was the first admin. He was the founder of what was the name of that organization that you had? It was the Fathers Organization.
Proactive Dads.
Proactive Dads. So he had a Proactive Fathers Organization that he ran for a good long time, and that was very cool because, in my experience, he was one of the first people to have an online pro-fatherhood organization that actually did something. It wasn't just a flash in the pan, hey, here's a website, we're going to make a cool organization, and then they never hear about it again. I actually still have my t-shirt, and I do wear it fairly often. I will have to wear it on one of the shows when maybe tomorrow. And after that, or maybe in the middle of that somewhere, he founded Arkside Marketing, which is as I said, a prominent marketing firm, let me rephrase that, full-service media firm that's based in California. And he does an amazing job helping companies get the word out, tell people what they do, how they do it, and impress upon consumers the value of his clients. So, Nathan, did I miss anything?
I started and ran some companies in between, did some management of companies. I've been a lifelong marketing entrepreneur, so that has been my passion since I was a teen, probably. And it's something that I've remained committed to because I understand and I've seen firsthand the value of good, ethical, legal marketing and what that can do to a company, how it can help them grow and give people job opportunities. So it's something that I've been a huge advocate of and a student of for most of my life.
Oh, well, I think that's one of the reasons why we both clicked is because I also, starting way back in college and before that, working flea markets, sales and marketing has been my thing since day one. Granted, I figured out how to work a keyboard between then and now, but, it's all about the people. It's all about doing it and doing it right, not just shortcutting it, looking for the 5 steps to financial freedom or whatever other thing is out there. It's doing it right and doing it well. Gets you customers and it keeps them and become clients for life.
Yeah.
So,
and that, well, you actually bring up another good point, which is that marketing is not just advertising. And I even have, I do lectures on this topic of helping businesses and even students and consumers understand the difference between and the relationship between marketing and advertising. So advertising is part of marketing, but marketing is everything a company does. And part of that is because of the great synopsis that Jeff Bezos once gave it, which is basically that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Absolutely.
And it's a very good understanding of, you need to know that the guy at your loading dock who's shipping out customer orders is integral to your marketing, because if that guy screws up, orders are late, and now even if it's a great product, people have a negative impression. So marketing is everything, every part of a business is all encompassing, and it helps define what that message is for the company at every level of customer interaction.
Exactly. And that's that's one of the things that I've been focusing on a lot with my videos recently, but you've taken it to 6 or 7 levels well past what I've gotten to so far. I mean, with your own company, you're working on what, 7 years now with Arkside?
Yeah, we just celebrated our 7-year anniversary.
So think about, if you will, those of you watching, I've been doing this show this is number 200. That means 200 individual days of talking to people about kilts and about empowerment and about bettering themselves so that they can succeed in life. Nathan's been doing this for 7 years, every single day. So my 200 episodes is a paltry sum compared to 7 years of working with customers, clients, friends, families, employees, trying to take all of those things together and put together a cohesive package that clients actually want so that they can improve their companies. That's a huge accomplishment. 7 years, and it's a successful 7 years, at least to this point. And that's very awesome. I applaud you for your efforts, my friend.
Thank you.
So, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. So the first thing, we've known each other for, what is this now? Coming up 11, 12 years now? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
So back in the days of some other website that shall not be named, it still goes that way. So what got you involved with the kilts and wearing them above and beyond just a formal event?
Well, and that's the interesting part of the story, is that I got into kilts. The easy answer is I'm Scottish, and I'm one of those people, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers and forum members and website members can relate to this. I'm one of those guys who, when I first heard bagpipes, I felt it.
Oh yeah.
Now, a lot of people in the public realm, they feel bagpipes too, but that's a different feeling.
Yeah.
That's what that sort of ethnic, it just stirred something in me. It's like, oh my
right
gosh,
in here.
I get that.
Yeah.
So I think there's a strong cultural connection, certainly, and that was sort of a gateway to it. But the first time I actually bought and wore a kilt was for my wedding. So, what got me into it, yes, it was a formal attire. But I've always been somebody who appreciates difference. I've always been somebody who appreciates standing out for positive reasons. For most of about half of my business career, I've actually had very long hair. At one point, I had sort of a ponytail thing. The comparison I usually give is Leland from Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yep.
I had his haircut before he did, and I was running companies with that.
I remember some of those pictures.
You what?
I said I remember a couple pictures of that.
Yeah, exactly, and they still float around the internet. But anyway, so kilts to me is always, like I said, it's part of my culture, and that's one half of the answer. But the other half is they're incredibly comfortable. They're a really intelligent garment, and like I said, I appreciate different for the right reasons. And kilts are part of that. And I've got a fairly good reputation for doing things that break out of a box, to use the traditional nomenclature. But, getting out and saying, look, I don't need to conform. I don't need to be the same guy that you're going to compare me to. There's a way to be different. And one of the ways I do it in my personal life is with kilts. I own two of them. I've got a formal and a casual, and I wear them whenever I feel like. And if society doesn't enjoy it, that's not my problem.
That's a hell of a way to look at it. That's pretty much exactly the same thing I say almost every night. That whole be strong, put a kilt on. It's a metaphor for exactly what you just said. Be yourself, live for yourself, do your own thing, and if somebody else doesn't like it, well, you can have a conversation, or they can just ignore it and move on. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, there's another issue in that when it comes to conformity, you've got people that don't want to go too far. They want to look different, just like everybody else. It's kind of like that goth kid in high school. It's like, yeah, you want to be different, but you have 20 friends that dress exactly like you, and you're all different.
Yep.
So society does the same thing. We might wear jeans that are more torn than someone else who's wearing torn jeans. We might wear a bright colored shirt that's a little bit brighter than everybody else's bright colored shirt. But if you're really intending to be a unique person, then you've got to do things that are for you, and don't do it to be disrespectful. Don't do it to snub your nose at everybody else in the world. Say, ha ha ha, look at me. It's, hey, if you're comfortable with it, if you like it, if you're comfortable, I guess might be a better way to say, then just do it. And if somebody comes up to you and exposes their ignorance or their bias or their prejudice, why should that dictate what you wear?
Exactly. That and not just what you wear, but every other aspect of your life. That is exactly spot on. Someone's opinion is exactly that. It's their opinion, and does it apply to you? Is it going to affect you? Is it going to cause you grief? Unless it's your boss, probably not. Or your significant other. Otherwise, swing for the fences. That's exactly my same mentality. And I think that's probably one of the same reasons we've been friends for so long. So next question I had for you was, has the kilt in any way, shape, or form actually had any impact on you personally or professionally?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I am probably one of the few, and you may be even able to count them on one hand, the number of people who own a business and actually can post a photo of them wearing a kilt on National Tartan Day here in the United States.
Yeah.
So there's a photo of me in full formal attire, the full Prince Charlie and the kilt and everything, on National Tartan Day here in the U.S. from last year. So does it impact me professionally? Yeah, generally in very positive terms. After that photo, we had a couple of clients who the next time they saw me, hey man, saw the picture of you in the kilt. That takes some balls. I was like, yeah, do you want a boring marketing guy or do you want an interesting marketing guy who understands how to break through things? So no, it's been very well received professionally. I'm not like you, I'm not kilted every day. But I certainly have no issue wearing it. I talk to clients about it, vendors about it, and certainly my employees have seen me wear it on more than one occasion. So professionally, I think it's a positive thing because, again, I'm not doing it to be rude. I'm not doing it to snub my nose at anybody. I'm doing it because it fits me, and I don't want to be the same as all of my competitors, friends, family, whatever. In terms of personally, friends and family are usually pretty cool with it. I've had a couple of interesting conversations. I've helped educate a lot of people on it. And certainly I've gained a lot of education through Kilt Rock just because of the huge variety of opinions and facts and history and all of the interaction that you get on Kilt Rock. That's been a huge contribution to both my knowledge of and passion for the kilt.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And that's the whole point behind the Brotherhood of the Kilt. One of the, you helped form what it became. And I had the idea, and you're like, well, that's great. Let's try this, and steer it into what it's become now through all of your immense help and input during the formative years and the not so fun years when things got a little sideways. We're not going to get into that because that's history and it's not going to be repeated because I said so.
But the important thing is that over the last decade, you've had really great moments. The site has had really low moments, and it's still there. It's still serving the community. It's still educating people. It's still giving us a forum for support and education. And that's the important parts of that, is that your core mission has not deviated.
No.
And it's stayed stronger and getting stronger and stronger.
And yeah, and that's the whole point behind it, is just to keep on keeping on, just like that. So, and like I said, again, thanks for the kind words. It's not too often somebody says, hey, that thing you've been doing for so long, good job. Most of them don't even realize it's been around for more than a couple of months. So,
and that's actually a good thing, because you have people that are discovering you, new people that are discovering you, that are discovering Kilts, that are discovering the entire community of it, and they have a resource now that's very easy to find, very interactive, and I think that's an important element of keeping this community alive and growing and helping others understand why and how you may want to do this. So it's great that it could be new for them, but for a lot of us, this is a decade-old thing. Yeah,
it is. And it just feels weird when you say it that way. A decade. That's a lot. Wow. Let's let that sit for a second. Okay, so.
Yeah, enjoy that.
Yeah, that's different. So, my next big question is, I always ask these of all the people who I've had on, and you especially, considering that, I've known you since before you founded Arkside. In the 7 years, first off, why don't you tell everyone who's watching exactly what Arkside Marketing is and what it is you do that is kind of different than what everybody else is, because you are that kilt-wearing marketing CEO.
So, Arkside has been around for 7 years, but I've been involved in the marketing industry for about almost 20. And the very first company I started was a website design and hosting company, and the goal was to help small businesses get on the web. This was back in the day of, the only people who really had websites were large Fortune 500s or, the Red Cross or really large entities.
Yeah.
I partnered up with a guy who actually lives in England, and across the pond, we built this company that made it affordable for small businesses to get online and do business. I ran that for 7 years. While I went into college, in my sophomore or junior year, I ended that. And I finished off my college years and immediately went into media. So I started working at 2 radio stations here in Southern California. One of them was in Los Angeles. And I got a lot of great experience about the media side of the industry, and that included radio, television, outdoor, and the new world of the internet and social media for business.
Oh, yeah.
So I worked on my own companies. I worked on the media side, and then I realized that I was feeling limited by radio alone, because I could walk into a business and I automatically started analyzing, well, how much of your budget should go to radio, how much should go to TV, how much should go to staff training, how much should go to brand development, how much should go to outdoor, and how much should go to this weird thing, called Facebook. My thing was more all-encompassing. My passion was more about how does a business do marketing versus how can I sell you a particular thing. Mm-hmm. So I left the world of radio after a couple of years and joined an ad agency who happened to be a client of mine. From there, within about a year to year and a half, that agency got bought because we grew so quickly, and we picked up some large accounts. So I joined another ad agency, and then from there, I became the director of marketing for a large auto dealership group. We had a total of 9 stores in 3 cities and 2 counties, and that was really a great sort of professional moment because I was able to really start executing a lot of the ideas that I had and passions and strategies. So I became a director of marketing, so now I was working on the client side. So at that point in my career, I had all three sides of the industry, agency, media, and client. I'm one of the few people in the industry that has actually done that.
Yeah.
And through that experience, I realized that really outside of the big agencies, the BBDOs and publicists and all that, outside of them, it was really hard to find an accomplished and really cohesive full-service agency. And that's what Arkside was created to be. We do everything from radio and television advertising on a national or international level to promotional products and local newspapers and printing. And we created this to be that one-stop shop. So what Arkside is that one meeting, one destination to execute a brand's marketing strategy. And that's what we are today, and that's what I've always wanted us to be.
And you're doing a hell of a job at it too. I've in talking with you over the years as to what kind of things you've accomplished and the some of the campaigns and some of the clients that you've worked with, I'm very, very impressed. So I tip my hat if I had one. What you've done, I think, is going to be instrumental in taking the large agency mindset and putting it into something that is much smaller of a package and that a lot more people have access to. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think another part of that is that we're able to bring some of the really high-level, in many cases complex strategies that a Fortune 500 might use, and again, bring that down to the small and medium business so that they have a better understanding of their own audience. They have a better understanding of how the media works. That's always been the goal is, there's no reason that the size of your business should dictate how well you can serve a customer other than maybe technology, but that just has to be affordable.
Yeah, and tech is always just a numbers game anyway. It's can you afford the people and the technology itself?
Yeah.
For the most part. Everything else, you've got to have the knowledge, the skill, the wherewithal, the ability, and as you said, the balls to pull it off. And what you've done is all of that wrapped up into one with a tartan bow on top, which is very impressive. So, thank you. So for those of you who don't know, if you are tuning in late, Nathan Greenberg, CEO of Arkside Marketing, a fellow student of marketing as myself. So a lot of these cool ideas and things, I'll bounce off him. I'm like, Nathan, I think about this thing. I don't know. What do you think? And sometimes he'll tell me I'm out of my tree. Sometimes he'll be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Why don't you try doing it this other way? So it's been really cool, working with you over the past decade or more on everything. So the next question I had is, being with Arkside for 7 years and seeing it grow and succeed as it has, where would you, when you hit year 10, where do you want it to be? What?
Year 10, hopefully by then we've doubled in size in terms of our in-house staffing. That's the interesting thing about marketing. It doesn't always take a huge team. Very often, 3 people in a room can get something incredible done, especially today because of technology and the capabilities it affords us for both automation and efficiencies. But within the next 3 years, I would really like to be finalizing a plan, finalizing the implementation of a second office, probably on the East Coast.
Nice.
Because there are certain clients who just want local. By local, I don't mean the same town, but
the same side of the country.
Understands the bi-coastal nature of the country.
Yeah.
And I would like to elevate our involvement in some of the industries that we specialize in, and just, I mean, plainly speaking, I don't make enough time to get these things done. But we really specialize in industries that are regulated. So those industries who either a government or a manufacturer or a trade association actually regulates what sort of marketing and advertising companies can do.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to get more involved in the automotive industry. I'd like to get more involved in the legal industry. Healthcare is a big one, especially today. So there's a lot of those things that I'd really like to increase our involvement and prominence with. But for right now, we're serving a great array of clients. Many of are in those industries. But in 10 years, I think we're looking at more thought leadership recognition, increasing awareness of some of the things that we've created or spearheaded or helped other businesses create for the first time in their industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just, it's a matter of time, it's a matter of growth. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm putting some pieces in place now that can help accomplish that.
Oh, awesome. So that I'm eagerly looking forward to that because, I've got a couple of signs that I think I need to make for your office, a couple of rooms in particular that probably would look good on an East Coast office for you.
Got it. Look forward to that.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're looking to build out. So, I don't even know how long we've been on here. So, in your experience in the kilted world, what do you think the greatest, how do I put this? You've been kilted since you've been married, on and off as you see fit. What do you think the biggest thing that has changed since you put one on for the first time? Not in yourself, but just in the kilted the kilted world as a whole. What do you think the biggest change has been since you first got involved?
I think certainly one of the best has been the slow but steady recognition of the kilt as a sort of an everyman garment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that over the years it has become less Scottish and more male, and I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
I think the fashion industry, for a variety of reasons, some I like, some I don't like, but for a variety of reasons, I think the fashion industry has warmed to the design of it. I think they've warmed to the flexibility, and I don't mean like physical flexibility, but sort of the attire flexibility, the ensemble flexibility that a kilt offers a guy.
Oh, yeah.
I also think it's been very helpful to utilize, intentional or otherwise, celebrity endorsements. When guys like Gerard Butler and Ewan McGregor or Samuel L. Jackson, when these guys show up to events in kilts, or Mike Myers, when they show up to events in kilts, even if they are Scottish, it still helps normalize it.
Yep.
And you need those types of allies, whether they're doing it to push the cause or not. It's still good to have them going to the public and saying, hey, I'm a man, Scottish or not, and this is something I love wearing. I think it's cool. I think that helps other people sort of drop their stigma a little bit. So, I think the biggest change has been the slow but steady embrace from the fashion industry, from men in general, and sort of I do want to stand out a little bit. I am an independent person. How do I do that? Hey, kilt's kind of cool, and just sort of dropping the fear of it. Yeah.
And that's actually been one of my most welcome sights as I've been thinking over the years, is that it's been a very slow and in sometimes painful experience watching as the kilt has become more and more accepted in society as a male garment. But I agree with you completely that when we get those celebrity endorsements, and then there's Jonathan Davis from Korn who wears them all the time from your neck of the woods when he's performing.
Yeah, and that's a great example of it. Is it's a guy who's just wearing a comfortable garment. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and it's a very cool thing. Well, that's an awesome insight. I had thought about it a lot. Putting it in words, though, just like that, is makes you think a little bit more. So, I don't want to go too long because I know you're probably trying to get out to dinner. So, do you have any? First thing, do you have any last words you want to talk about with what you've done with Arkside, or any other things you've got going on?
I do want to say just, and the sad thing is, it is so early in this process that I can't talk too much about it. But I have recently been asked and have accepted the position of becoming the president of a new nonprofit organization that I think is going to fit very well in the Kilted community. But it is, I have to say this very carefully, it is solely about recognizing and empowering the hardworking, salt-of-the-earth people that helped build all great societies, build being the operative word, and it's an organization that is sorely needed right now, especially here in the United States. So over the next few months, you're going to see some announcements from me about this organization, about this charity, and it is something that is going to make a huge contribution once we get it launched. We're already lining up congressional support. We're already lining up governors, mayors, chambers of commerce, and a lot of educational organizations. So in addition to Arkside, there's also going to be this 501c3 that I'm helping launch. And I really look forward to bringing that out because I think a lot of the Kiltrock audience is not only going to benefit from it, but also want to be a part of it.
Oh, yeah, count me in already. Just by hearing what you've just said, we can talk some more about this offline today or later or whenever. Yeah, that sounds awesome. You have my full support in its entirety, in any way, shape, or form that I can help with that. That's an amazing thing.
I think you especially are going to get a lot out of it. I think you're going to be a big supporter. Like I said, I think a lot of our fellow men and women in Kiltrock, they're going to be the exact same way once this thing gets announced.
Awesome. So, and as I go with every, oh, go ahead. Hello?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, last thing I do with everybody who have on, I give you the opportunity to ask me whatever you want. Does not matter. Nothing is off limits. You might get a funny answer if it's a little crazy, but whatever you want.
So one thing I've always been interested in, because obviously you were there at the very beginning and I was close to it, of all the topics of conversation and all of the threads and the posts and everything that's gone on in Kiltrock over the last decade or so, what are the things that, or maybe the one thing that you love to see come out of the Kiltrock audience? What is it that keeps you moving when you hear or see somebody do X? What is that?
Okay, so that one I know I could answer that one all day and talk about it for hours. It's two different things. The first one is when I see someone who maybe they're not putting the kilt on for the first time, but that first time when they get the glimmer of how empowering it is to free yourself from pants in a literal sense, but it's the metaphor that the kilt is. It's that if I use the metaphor, if you can put a kilt on and go to Walmart and buy milk and eggs, you can do anything. It's seeing someone get that light bulb, that sense of freedom, that sense of confidence, and the sense of self-awareness where they realize, well, holy crap, I can do this. And then seeing what they can do from that point forward. Seeing that, well, I can put a kilt on, I can go to the store and do all this stuff and deal with all of the whatever that you have to deal with when you wear a kilt. Okay, what's next? What's the next great thing that you can accomplish? And seeing that in someone, that is one of the two driving factors that keeps me going with the Brotherhood of the Kilt. The other thing is some of the discussions that have been had by people that are so dissimilar that in any other venue, they would be at each other's throats. I think one of my favorite threads, and I think you may remember this, was when there was a discussion about God. and there was I think a Presbyterian minister, a Buddhist, and an atheist having a discussion online, and it was completely above board. And it was an intelligent, legitimate discussion about each of their faiths, or actually, no, each of their faiths. And seeing things like that, where you have people who have absolutely nothing to do with each other, come together based on a single common thread and open up about everything else, where you have hardcore liberals talking with hardcore conservatives talking with hardcore something else's, all at the same time in a civil and intelligent manner, where they actually start learning from each other. And they become less opposed to other viewpoints. Not necessarily accepting them as their own or even liking them, but recognizing that there are other people who live lives very differently from their own, and accept them as people and offer them the respect that another human being deserves simply because they're another human being. Those are the two huge things that I, since day one, have been aspiring to achieve, and I think, I'm still aspiring to keep that going, because every couple of weeks there's a new crazy something happens, and it all goes to hell in a handbasket, and I gotta rein it all in and bring it back together. But those are the two big things that I love every single time that I see those things happen. Seeing that, especially in society these days, where there are people who are unhappy because they don't fit this mold or that mold. See them become empowered and gain the self-confidence to be themselves again, and to do the things that they want and be successful in their own way, without having to conform to someone else's cookie-cutter description of what success actually looks like. So that's what does it for me.
Yeah, I think it's very tied into a kilted culture, and that's a sense of independence. I'm okay being different, and I want to be different, but I also want to learn how to be different with this.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the great threads and conversations we've had, and in some cases, it had nothing to do with kilts.
No.
But it was still about the community that you built.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that I think that I'm blessed or grateful or lucky or whatever positive word you want to use, that we still have that. We can still have people talking about all manner of things, because this Brotherhood of the Kilt that you helped build, it's not a group talking about kilts. It is a group of people who wear kilts talking about their lives, all of the things that they do in their lives, because the kilt is not just their lives. That's just a piece of clothes they put on. But it's the person behind that makes things interesting and makes the organization what it is, and is why it keeps thriving, is because we have such dissimilar people with that one single common bond, and it's enabled us to grow and enabled all of the individuals within it to grow as well, both personally and in some cases professionally. So
totally agree.
Yeah, that's and to you, I got to say, because of that, Nathan, I am grateful for all the help you've given me over the years. For those of you who tuned in a little bit late, it's episode 200 of Everyday KT, and I'm on the phone with Nathan Greenberg, CEO of Arkside Marketing, and the president of some cool new undisclosed charity thing that's going to be awesome, because it is going to be awesome. And I know that because he's in charge of it, and if he's in charge of it, then it is going to be awesome. So, and like I said, you've got my full support from the get-go. I'm eagerly anticipating seeing whatever it is you have for that, and helping in any way possible that I can, if you so desire. Any parting words?
No, other than I really appreciate the opportunity to certainly talk with you in this great forum that you've created, not only Kilt Rock, but also the live videos you're doing. I love tuning into those. I love watching them after the fact. Really glad to see them going up on YouTube now. So I just want to both thank you and then also compliment you for everything you've done over the last 10 years, almost 11 years. And really just, I hope people understand the value that is within the Kilt Rock community, the kilted community, and what they can get out of it, kilted and otherwise. It's a great group of a few thousand people.
Oh yeah, it's growing. Even the Facebook side of it is growing far greater than the website itself. Than I would have ever imagined the website growing. So as much as forum owners around the world despise Facebook for what it's doing, I think we've actually found a way to make that work for us. So
yeah, and that's about understanding your audience. If they're on Facebook, then you need to be there too, and obviously people have adopted to it.
Yeah. So again, Nathan Greenberg, thank you again for joining us on episode 200. And for those of you out there, no Kiltology tonight, because you know why? If I was going to do one tonight, I would actually hand pick it because it's kind of that important of a deal. So with that, I will let everyone go. Again, Nathan, thank you so much for joining us. And everyone watching, do me a favor. Go out there, be awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody who tuned in as well.
Yeah. So first things and foremost, go Google Arkside Marketing. Go check out what Nathan is doing. He's doing some very interesting things, and it's very impressive. Go Google it tonight, and then go hit the contact me and send them a message telling them how awesome they're doing. And for everybody else, go out there, have a good time. Happy I didn't blow myself up day, and be strong. Put a kilt on.